moving forward, what do you do? Like, as obviously you said, you want him to fight Tom next, and you said that could be just be the biggest heavyweight fight of all
It
time.
will be.
Yeah. And
What's up, guys? Today I'm going to discuss UFC 309 and the fights that I want to see and that I believe the UFC should make. Make sure you guys like and sub. Let's get into it. We're going to talk about the co-main event and the main event, the winners and the losers. Got a lot to talk about. Let's go. Starting with Charles do Bronx, Charles Oliveira. He beat Michael Chandler for 4.5 rounds. Incredible performance. Some people are saying his best performance ever. You guys know what I want. Title shot. Let's go. Championship run. He's going to continue his lightweight GOAT legacy. I want Charles Oliveira to get a title shot. So I want him to face the winner of Arman versus Islam in January. Um, Obviously, if Arman wins, they might do the Islam rematch. If Islam wins, it's more than likely Oliveira. So, you know, if you are Oliveira, you're probably hoping that Islam wins that fight. Um, Yeah, I just want to see this fight. I think he should get a title shot. I think it's deserved. I've seen people get title shots off of less, like Khalil Roundtree and Israel Adesanya coming off of a loss. So I think it's completely fair. He never got his title rematch, even though he went on a long run. I think it's fair. He never got the rematch against Islam Makhachev. People are forgetting this. Now, you could even say, "Oh, but it will go the same way." We don't know that. So I don't know. I actually think this version of Oliveira, this more patient Oliveira, is more patient on the feet. His striking is more patient. Hey man, he looks like he's been training in Dagestan as well, the way he's like grappling now, blasting double legs. I feel like this guy could give Islam or Arman a lot of issues, especially Islam, because obviously him being wild is what got him to get caught and then trying arm triangle in that first fight. I'm just saying, guys. So I want to see Oliveira get a title shot against the winner of Arman versus Islam in January. So yeah, in terms of the loser, which is Iron Mike, Dan Hooker. I want to see him against Dan Hooker. I want to see that rematch. I think if Dan Hooker wins this, you could low key give him a title shot, to be honest with you. I think it's deserved. I was thinking like, okay, you could do Chandler versus a Jalen Turner. You could do Chandler versus I know I was thinking even RDA, Gamrot, Fiziev. I'm interested in those. I think Fiziev Chandler would be fun. Gamrot Chandler would be fun, but give him Dan Hooker. I think it's fair. Maybe Dan Hooker could avenge that loss as well. I actually think he probably will win that fight if that fight were to happen. So I'd like to see that rematch. And yeah, I mean, Chandler didn't look good at all. So I'd imagine he wants to get right back in there. Dan Hooker's probably going to be ready in February. I don't know if Chandler's going to come back in February, but I mean, he did take a lot of. I was gonna say he didn't take too much damage, but he took a bit of damage. I don't know. If I'm Chandler, I'm getting right back in there, bro, because he looked shit. Oh, I mean, up until the fifth round. The fifth round, obviously, like, yeah, cool, Chandler looked great, but those 4 rounds, there was like almost two 10-8s against Oliver. Like, he just looked, I mean, he looked like he hadn't been in the cage in 3 years. That's how he looked, and that was the truth. Or was it 2.5 years, 3 years? So, yeah, I want Chandler Dan Hooker. I think it'd be sick. Again, you could do Chandler versus those lower ranked lightweights, but do the Dan Hooker fight. Um, I was even thinking, well, yeah, maybe you could do Dan Hooker versus the loser of Arman Islam. Look, the lightweight is very kind of complex right now, so this one was a bit harder to kind of piece together, but I think that's what I'm doing. So Chandler, Dan Hooker, rematch. Honestly, I'd probably pick Dan Hooker. I think Chandler's kind of washed, but it is what it is. Moving on to the heavyweights. So obviously John Bones, Tom Aspinall. Tom Aspinall. I mean, I'm not saying Pereira. I'm not saying Jamal Hill or Derek. Tom Aspinall. Easily Tom Aspinall. Has to happen. Dana White wants it, surprisingly. The fans obviously want it. Tom wants it. John's the only one that just doesn't want it. Has to happen. Um, it'd be honestly, if the build was like really, really good and heated, I could see it being the greatest fight in UFC. I could see it being the biggest fight, excuse me, in UFC history. I know Dana's hyping it up. Now all of a sudden Dana's a promoter and is hyping it up like crazy. Before it was like, I don't think Tom's ready. Now all of a sudden Tom is ready. Dude, Dana White is he's a wild man, but Yeah, I think this fight would be sick. I mean, again, there's who would you guys think I was gonna say? Freaking Alex Pereira. I love Alex Pereira, but no, not anytime soon. Maybe if Pereira beats Ankalaev, beats somebody else, then I'd be maybe a little more interested. I want to see him against a couple more grapplers. No, not I do not want to see him against John Jones at all, or at least anytime soon. John Jones, fight Tom Aspinall. Just fight Tom Aspinall, bro. Just do it. I'm sure the UFC is going to pay him well. I actually think it's going to happen, to be honest. I think the UFC are going to have to pay him a crazy amount of money. I think it's going to happen. My guess is probably, I'm going to say International Fight Week. So probably like in the summer. Because I feel like I feel like he's going to make Tom wait, man. I don't know. Jones screams the kind of guy that's going to take like 9 months off. Like, imagine if we just have to wait till like next December. Oh my God. Or sorry, next November. The next MSG card, it'd be crazy, but no, that should be the fight next. You guys already know who I would pick. Tom Aspinall, of course. I think he smokes John Jones in like 2 minutes, but we're not going to predict the fight until it's here. So I think that should be obviously next. It's one of the biggest fights in UFC history. Like, there's no other options. Just make the fight. So, yeah, that's who I want to see John Jones fight next. As for Stipe Miocic, well, a lot of you guys are going to say, well, he's retired. He's retired. Well, not exactly. See, Mike Tyson was retired. You guys see where I'm going with this? I want to see Stipe Miocic against Jake Paul. Tell me that wouldn't be a sick fight. That would be the biggest fight in the history of the sport. No, I actually think that would be. Can you imagine? Can you actually imagine if Stipe fought Jake Paul? He's just like, yeah, guys, I'm done, guys. Right? By the way, can we talk about Stipe's retirement? Like, it was just the most unceremonious thing. Like, he didn't even take the gloves off. Meanwhile, they gave Carla Esparza, the most boring women's fighter in the history of the sport, a video package. Joe Rogan was crying on commentary like a homo, but then he gave Stipe. Anyways, that's a whole nother topic. Stipe versus Jake Paul. Obviously, I'm joking, guys. I just want to do that little thing at the end. That's pretty much it. These are the big fights I want to make. A lot of these fights are kind of obvious. Some, the lightweight ones are a little bit trickier, but yeah, obviously, and then obviously Jones Aspinall is the most obvious fight to make in the sport. So make sure you guys like and sub if you guys agree. We're almost at, I believe we're at 45 subs now. So amazing, guys. I remember when I was at 4 subs. So now we're at 45. Thank you guys so much. See you guys in the next video. Peace.